Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Please like and subscribe. More importantly, become a member to the channel if you enjoy the content. You can give me a follow on Twitter and Instagram. Leave that donation for that fried rice and chicken wings. After Canelo, who's next? We went through the Mayweather era. Canelo was part of that. Canelo kind of took the reins. He had Anthony Joshua, kind of the face of boxing as well. But really, Canelo was the man. You saw what Keith Thurman did, Earl Spence did. Terence Crawford made some noise. Usyk is making some noise. Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder. Lomachenko, Chocolatito. There were a lot of fighters who made some noise as far as pay-per-view attractions, dominating their divisions, outstanding skill, outstanding talent, but really, no one's come close to being anything near what Canelo Alvarez was and is today. So when Canelo hangs it up, who's next? Now, Terence Crawford is going to try to take that Canelo crown. He wants to be the face of boxing. He wants to be the man. Now, I don't know how that's going to work out when they get in the ring. You know, I do a lot of videos. I stir the pot. And I'll be honest with you, I could see Canelo blasting Crawford out of there. I could see Crawford fighting smart and maybe hurting Canelo, maybe getting and definitely winning a decision. It just depends. I can see it going both ways. That's why I do so many videos. But one thing for sure, even if Crawford beat Canelo, he'll never be the next king of the sport. And when you sit that aside and you start looking across all weight divisions, who out there could be next? Now, let me show you something, right? Let me do this. You know, I like to open this up for you guys. Let me just take this off because there. Now you see what I'm saying. You look at these silhouettes behind Canelo. There's no face because no one knows who next. But the bottom line is, when it comes to boxing, boxing's a strange sport. And they're going to be fighters remembered for their knockouts. Some guys are going to remember for the trash talk. And when I talk about being remembered for your trash talk, think of Ricardo Mayorga, some would say Mayweather, Adrian Broner. All right? Then you got Canelo Alvarez. He's remembered for everything. First thing that jumps out at you when you see Canelo, the hair. Then you think about the suits, all the Dolce & Gabbana suits. And you think about when he gets in the ring, the way he's been breaking people's bones, destroying their midsections. He's got the power. You also think about the damn steak dinners that cause Twitter wars to this day. People won't let that go, saying Canelo would have had to have eaten a whole goddamn bull to have had any kind of advantage or amount of clenbuterol in the system to make a difference in the fight. But the reality is, he's like if Rocky Balboa, Iron Man, and he's from Mexico, so like a telenovela star, if you put them all into one. And today, I think more fans should be asking the question, right? Because whether you love Canelo or you hate him, I think it's a dangerous question because I don't think there's anyone out there to succeed him, but is Canelo Alvarez the last great global superstar in boxing? Maybe it's over. There will be no more great global superstars. Boxing could be about to enter an era without heroes. Because let's be real. When it comes to Canelo, love him, hate him, or just think his judges are on the payroll. You got an opinion about the man. Everybody talks about Canelo. Everyone. And you know what that means? Like they say, if they're not talking about you, then you're doing something wrong. Basically, opinions mean engagement. So I just think fans should just, it's like if you're driving a car and you're going for a ride, you just buckle on in. Because I think when you really start to understand the story of a guy from the mean streets of Guadalajara, Jalisco, to where he is at the moment, which is a little bit of everywhere, Las Vegas penthouses, to going and getting humbled by Mayweather, to becoming the king of Mexican boxing, to just having a footprint all over the world. I just think along the way, when you look at what Canelo was able to do in boxing, I think there was moments we were able to laugh, always able to debate. And I'm sure there's a few people who get upset in the comments and shit. I see you guys in there, man, sparring. But anyway, when you think about Canelo and his rise, his story almost feels like a movie script. Same thing with Crawford. But just really sit back and understand a guy like Canelo, man. Little white, redhead Mexican kid growing up in Mexico. Everyone expected a boxing hero to look like, Julio Cesar Chavez. No one expected a boxing hero to look like Canelo. Even if no one ever knew of Canelo, you said draw what a great Mexican boxer would look like, it sure as hell wouldn't look like Canelo. People looked at him and thought, hell nah, this guy can't be Mexican, he must be Irish. He's not, he doesn't represent us. Then they saw how he could fight. And more importantly, that he had that dog in him and that he was winning. Turned pro at 15, man. 15 years old. It's crazy. Most people just trying to pass high school gym class. Canelo's out there, fighting grown men, man, getting his stripes, building the experience the hard way, man. What people say, get it out the mud. He was getting that shit out the mud out there in Guadalajara, Jalisco. By the time Oscar went sniffing around Golden Boy Promotions, Canelo, look, by that time, he wasn't just another prospect. He was loved by Mexico and carrying Mexico's hopes. He was the guy. And one thing I'll tell you, man, when it comes to boxing, Mexicans don't be playing around with that boxing shit. They ain't talking about no baseball. They ain't talking about football. They ain't talking about soccer. They talking about boxing. So when you look at what he did with under Golden Boy Promotions, he did very good. They did a good job in helping to build him, but he was really easy to market, man. It was a no-brainer. That guy was gonna be huge, a superstar. But the moment that changed everything for Canelo is kind of like when Floyd Mayweather beat De La Hoya, but it's when he fought Floyd Mayweather back in 2013 on September 14th. He was only 23 years old, stepped in the ring against the best boxer of this generation. What do you think happened? He got schooled. Floyd put on a boxing clinic. That shit was so clean, I think some judges in Nevada are still scoring that fight. But the thing is this, Floyd beat De La Hoya to go on to become a superstar. Canelo lost to Mayweather, but that loss is what helped made him a superstar. You see, a lot of fighters, they lose early, never recover. But not Canelo, man. Canelo actually went back to the lab, trained harder, learned defense, learned patience, built a style, which is just damn near impenetrable. That kind of coalesced the Mexican aggression with Floyd-like slickness, man. And when you think about that, the Mexican aggression, Floyd-like slickness, that's a badass combination. So some people will say, well, Mayweather gave Canelo the blueprint. Well, he used it to build a mansion, and he is what he is now in boxing because of it. But for him to have become Mexico's king. Look, Mexico always produces warriors. But, you had some legends, and when those guys hung it up, the Barrera, the Marquez, the Morales, when those guys just kind of faded into oblivion, and there was a vacuum. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., look, I don't even want to start with that guy. You know what I'm saying? That guy couldn't carry his father's mustache, let alone his legacy. He had the potential. He just dropped the ball. So Canelo took the crown. Now, how did he do it? Easy. He made Cinco de Mayo weekend and Mexican Independence Day weekend his. Those dates belong to him now. People don't even ask who's fighting. If it's May or September, we all know. They all know, and we all know it's Canelo. He's the king of the Mexican fight calendar. Vegas knows it. Casinos roll out the red carpet. Fans fly in by tens and thousands. And all of a sudden, feels like an event again. The headlines, social media, all the YouTubers, everybody starts bubbling up. Same way Canelo bubbled up in weight. Out here hop, skipping, jumping all over the place, didn't he? And that's what makes Canelo special, is, he was willing to jump around in weight. Middleweight, super middleweight, even light heavyweight. You look at most of these fighters who have a career, and very successful, but they stay in one division, not Canelo. Canelo's out here collecting belts like they're Pokemon cards, you know what I'm saying? The man fought Triple G 3 times, Kovalev, destroyed Caleb Smith, broke Billy Joe Saunders' eye socket, humiliated Caleb Plant with slick counters. But see, this is for a lot of people, that's where the debate starts. They say, yo, was he daring or was he calculating? I think he was both, but did he fight guys at the right time? The critics are loud. The critics are active. They say he avoided prime threats like Andre and Charlo for too long and David Benavidez. I could kind of, understand that position from the critics. Fans say he earned the right to pick whoever he wants. And the truth, probably somewhere in between. But either way, you can't deny that, Canelo Alvarez is there to step up in ways other stars wouldn't. And that's why when it comes to Canelo, he is a business. It's not just a boxer. The dude's a businessman. The zone threw him a $365 million contract. That's crazy. The world stopped. This was boxing saying, yo, forget UFC, forget the NFL, we can pay too. And even though the zone fumbled the bag, Canelo cashed out, fought on his own terms, and proved that he just doesn't win in the ring. He wins at the negotiation table. He made a lot of money. I already mentioned De La Hoya. De La Hoya used to be the face of boxing. Floyd took the crown, and we are where we are now with Canelo. So, like him or not, networks fight over him. It is what it is. He moves pay-per-views, even in today with the climate of piracy and everybody wanting something for free. He's still out here moving pay-per-view, man. So that's why promoters hate him. He doesn't need them anymore. He is the system. That's why when he comes around, he tells them, this is what I want, this is what we're going to do. And they're just like, yes, sir. Si, senor. So, of course, no king is going to rule without enemies, even if the enemies want to work with you because they know it's a win-win financially. Canelo been accused of ducking fighters, benefiting from suspicious scorecards, and, of course, the drug test, tainted meat excuse. Again, people bring that shit up. The last couple of weeks, all the videos I've been doing, that shit always comes up in the comments. But I just think, you can just call everything politics, But no matter what, you can't deny how resilient he is, because with everything he's gone through, the good, the bad, you got to be strong. You got to be built for tough to endure that crap. Every time people doubt him, he comes back with another big win, and that's why him going in there against Terrence Crawford, you better believe all the doubters are motivating Canelo to get there and try to break Terrence Crawford's face. But still, let's be honest. Crawford, even if he looks like he's winning round by round, if those rounds are close. When I just think about the Triple G fights, I would have to think that Crawford won't get the win. It just depends on who. I really think it depends on who TURKI ALALSHIKH wants to go forward. And, at the end of the day, we know who's the true superstar. But if you don't think so, you don't think Triple G was a robber, you don't think Crawford could possibly get robbed in a close fight, I don't know. I'd love to see what glasses, you were wearing when Canelo fought Triple G, because they must be Canelo brand tinted, you know what I'm saying? Where you only see the good things that Canelo does. So, but this is the thing. After Crawford, if he clips him, what's next? Who can actually beat him, and who can actually take the superstar torch from Canelo? We know Terence Crawford is a pound-for-pound king. He's not a global superstar, doesn't sell like Canelo, but he's up next. David Benavidez, a Mexican monster. Some say he's not polished enough. He is a nightmare matchup, but outside hardcore fans, he's really not mainstream yet. Naoya Inoue, look, different weight division, but when we're talking about the next global superstar, look, he's a beast in Japan, but he's not global like Canelo. Tank Davis, he has everything it would take to be a global superstar. He sells tickets, but he doesn't really want to have the crossover appeal. He wants to still kind of sit there, be comfortable in his own ways, be ignorant. And he doesn't want to, take risks. So, when I'm trying to establish the truth here, none of them feel as big as Canelo. He's not just a fighter. He's become a cultural figure. And it's sad that some of these other guys could possibly go that direction. They just choose not to. There is one guy I think who could have done it, but he just didn't. He didn't have discipline. That was Adrian Broner. I think Adrian Broner could have been a damn trillionaire. That dude, everyone liked him. Personality, could fight, but he just was. He was his own worst enemy. But when it comes to Canelo, look, time waits for no man. Not even a red-headed king like Canelo, man. Guadalajara, Jalisco's finest. The reality is he may only have a few more fights left in him. And if he starts losing, he may not even have that many. Canelo's got miles on the odometer, had wars with a lot of guys, man. He's taken body punishment. He has taken some headshots. Nothing too crazy, but look, that shit adds up when you've had 60-plus fights. And that means 60-plus training camps. And when you watch closer, you see maybe he's slowing down just a little. Like, that's a fact. I don't care what anyone says. Canelo is slowing down a little bit. So I think the real big question here, as far as the global superstar from Guadalajara, Jalisco, how much longer can he keep it up? A year, 3 years, 5 years. Look, one brutal loss could change everything. I'm not joking. Seen that shit before. Roy Jones. Horrible what he did to his legacy. De La Hoya, hey, try to get in there with Pacquiao. It is what it is. Chased the money, got down to 147. Should have never been there. Had all them IVs in his ass trying to rehydrate. Freddie Roach saw what was going on. Told Pacquiao jump on his ass. But then Pacquiao now, look at him. He coming back to boxing. Look what he's doing. A superstar. And now Pacquiao's back. Could be throwing his legacy away. So, unfortunately, when most of these boxers, they love boxing. It's all they know. They like to fight. They know how much money they can make from one fight. As a result, boxing doesn't let these guys walk away. Not clean anyway. So is Canelo the last great superstar in boxing? I think maybe. When you really look at it, there's no one else, remotely close to where Canelo is. And although TURKI ALALSHIKH, when Turkey's in the house every day is Thanksgiving, he's doing a pretty good job of bringing boxing back together and promoters together. But boxing's still fractured, man. Everybody's still looking out for their own best interests and their own platforms. Then when you start talking about sanctioning bodies, it's crazy. Just look at the amount of belts, look at the amount of networks, the amount of bullshit politics. And a guy like Canelo is one of the rare fighters who broke through. I would say he broke through all of that. He did. And now he's become a global household name. Everyone knows who the hell. They may not know Saul Alvarez, but they know Canelo. So the hardcore truth, when he retires, look, man, the sport's going to feel different. Just like with Mayweather being gone. Even with, like right now with, what's his name, Deontay Wilder, when everything's a little bit different, you know. But when Canelo's gone, the shit's really gonna feel different because that's a whole different level, man. He's in a whole nother stratosphere. So love him, hate him. Look, Canelo represents something boxing desperately needs, man. And I think every era you need to have something like that. They need a king. And once the king steps off the throne, if he's not dethroned, which I think he would have to be dethroned, I'm not sure anyone is ready to sit in his chair. And that's just being real. So I guess the real question is, after Canelo, you know, who is it? Who's the person? Who's left? They're trying to build up Moses ITAUMA, but he's a heavyweight. But I mean, who really has that special it factor to go on to become boxing's next global superstar? And I'll be honest with you, I'm not seeing that person at all. It's Canelo today, Canelo tomorrow, Canelo forever. And that's just the reality of how most boxing fans see it. Make sure y'all become a member to the channel. Time for me to go exercise. I ran my mouth long enough. Keep cool, I'm in the breeze.